Hello everyone. First of all, I did get permission from the person to make this video. Second, if my voice sounds a bit off, like my mic or whatever, it's because I'm using noise suppression because I have my air conditioner on. Third, I don't know what I'm gonna title this, but part of this video will also be showing how it's hard to cheat in this game in the first place. And finally, the person is anonymous. So, yeah. So Cole got his legendary time of 1:38:31 in movie, at the time any percent, but now no major glitches, in December 2014, and it got beaten in, like, late-ish 2016, if I recall correctly. So it took a long time to beat. Granted, nobody was playing the game in 2015, but obviously, as we all know, the community had a huge revival in 2015. In 2016, you know, Battle did, and then by extension, some people tried out movie. Chris and Red Moss were the ones, you know, fighting for world record, and Red Moss was the first one to break through, and then Chris did, and, you know, they traded a bit, but then Chris ultimately came out on top, and then I got record, and I've had it ever since. Extremely brief history of the world record history of no major glitches, but in that time, somebody else was a world record contender even before Chris and Red Moss were, or around the same time. So, yeah, so essentially, somebody, like, I don't remember if they initially beat the record, or if they got a time that was close to the record, but they got a 1:38, and they got accused of cheating real damn quick. You know, they were memed on in the entire community, and we thought that he spliced in a different game, which, I mean, I still don't know that much about the game, but, like, people have explained, like, why it's, like, how he didn't splice or whatever, so, you know, there's no proof, because obviously, you know, we were like, oh, well, he cheated in this other game, even though nobody from the community, like, played that game, so yeah, we thought he was a cheater, so we just kind of, like, kicked him out of the community and just memed on him for a couple years, and then we forgot about him. And nobody ever, you know, talks about it anymore. You know, a lot of the old community members aren't even around anymore, so it's not like, you know, it's not like it's on anybody's, radar anyway. You know, at the end of the day, it's just like, okay, somebody cheated, they didn't admit to it, and then Chris and Red Moss got the world record, and everybody lived happily ever after. But here's the thing, right? While there's no proof to this day that they didn't cheat, I don't think he cheated. I don't think he did. There was no good evidence that he did cheat, and for a long time, you know, I said the community made fun, like, I did it too, I'm not trying to, you know, I was one of many people, but I was still very much a person who was, like, very open about saying, like, yeah, no, he definitely cheated. There's no way somebody could beat the legendary Cole's time out of nowhere, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then just, you know, contributing to all the memes, like, you know, like, changing my name on Discord to, like, his Discord name to, like, make fun of him and stuff. I was bad. It's just, like, which, like, I will say, like, even if he did cheat, we probably went a little overboard. But so basically, I mean, even now, like, if he did cheat and then admitted to it, and then obviously by 2025, it'd be like, who fucking cares? I should probably be playing this in the background, just to have something. You know, although the issue would be that if he did cheat, he still has not admitted to it to this day. It's just that, again, there's no evidence that there was any cheating. Even if there isn't evidence that he didn't, you know, at that point, it's just like, well, then there's no proof that he cheated. So, again, he was just a guy that came out of nowhere and either got close to the world record or straight up beat it. So we thought that he was a cheater, especially because we had a severe lack of understanding of movie in the first place. And then, like, he kept, like, making alts and trying to, like, submit on those accounts. Which, like, I think I briefly brought it up to him a couple years ago, and he said, like, well, okay, so, like, I think I asked him before if, like, his brother ever played the game, and he said, like, no, or, like, ran the game at least, and he said no. And then I was like, well, like, I swear I remembered some of those alts saying that, like, he wasn't the guy, but he was the guy's brother. And he was like, I don't remember that, but, like, again, like, this is just, like, I could be wrong, but I feel like I remember. So I think he had, like, a negative reaction to us thinking he cheated, and then just, you know, pretended to be a different person to get runs on the leaderboards. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Which, by the way, like, because, like, he became a meme, like, even, like, the other games he touched, like, became a meme. And again, I believed it for years. I remember having an argument with somebody back in the day, and I was like... Because he deleted his runs, and I was like, oh, well, that's proof in itself. Like, the fact that he deleted the runs is proof. Because, you know, imagine you're in a courtroom, and, like, there's evidence that you, like, murdered somebody or whatever, and then you delete all the evidence. Like, you burn it, and then you're like, oh, well, there's no evidence. Which, like, I can kind of understand why I thought that back then, but it was probably just like, well, there's no reason for these runs to even be up on YouTube or whatever, because nobody believes that these runs are real anyway, so just had them deleted. So, again, I think, like, I do think it's fair to say that he was, like, an annoying kid, but I do think, like, again, he came out of nowhere, beat this time that we thought that, you know, not that it couldn't be beaten, but more that... we just didn't think it'd be some, like, random teenager or whatever, so we just thought, like, he cheated, he had a negative reaction to it, he, instead of letting it go, he just made, like, a bunch of alts and stuff, and then he became an even bigger meme, he was just seen as really annoying, and then we forgot about him after a while. And I was very much part of that problem of just, like, again, just severe lack of understanding of the game, and, I do have, like, an old run here, just old run because I just knew it'd have BBBH backwards, but eventually we'll get into how it's even hard to splice in this game in the first place. And then, I don't even think I'll be showing this, but this was just to show that when somebody did beat Cole's time, it was by a minute and a half. So, yeah, so... by this, again, I don't remember exactly when this was, but I do have something else. And here it is, right? So, this image, I was in a server, this was like 2016, I was in like some server, I don't even remember, it might have been some SpongeBob community server or something, but somebody posted this image, right? And it says, if blank, I had to censor it obviously, but if blank had a 138, so they had it, again, it doesn't say world record, so I don't know if they got close to world record, or if they actually did like, I don't know, the wording is weird. I don't even remember who posted this, I don't remember. But it's just, if blank had a 138, then why did this happen, right? So keep in mind that, again, we had already found, like, a couple strats, depending on the time of the year, a couple reroutes, and we were already playing on Xbox. Xbox saves roughly 3 minutes, right? So already we have a 3-minute advantage over Cole anyway, but you probably, again, like, lack of knowledge and stuff, and we were just all bad at the game. But, like, there's a lot of movement mistakes in this run, and Cole, like, there are so many instances where he grabs Manleys for literally no reason. So another thing is just showing, like, again, you need to pay a lot of respects to Cole's run, because it truly was excellent for its time. He made, like, no mistakes almost, it was crazy. Like, not movement mistakes, I mean, like, you know, trick mistakes. Even if there weren't that many tricks back then, again, the standards were completely different. We thought this game was hard as fuck, even though comparatively it is like the easiest fucking thing in the world compared to now. But, again, even just watch this, right? Just moves to the right, moves to the left, moves to the right. For some reason, we thought that jumping could lose time, so we're just hugging the wall, which loses time. Doing it again, like, going too far to the left, spinning for no reason. Like, again, like, this is literally the first, like... well, also, yeah, no ledge grab skip there, apparently, but yeah, you can just see all those movement mistakes. Imagine that throughout the entire run, and grabbing random Manleys that he doesn't need, and, like, really old route and strat stuff. So, basically, keep that in mind as well, that in hindsight, the run actually was perfectly beatable. You just needed somebody to grind the game for a long period of time, even on GameCube. But again, if also Cole's playing on an actual Wii, Dolphin tends to get slightly faster loads, and I'm not saying that the emulator isn't accurate, I'm saying that, like, Dolphin is almost playing like a really good condition Wii and a really good condition disc of movie. that is unrealistic in real life, so generally we will, like, it can, like, you know, maybe, like, a quarter of the loads, a third of the loads, whatever, will, like, be as good as Dolphin, but then usually it'll get, like, or maybe, like, maybe more than a third, but there will be those loads where it takes an extra second or two to, you know, to load. But yeah, basically, so we have this. If Blank had a 138, then why did this happen? So we're gonna go over this and why, again, there's no proof they cheated because all these reasons are fucking stupid. Warped to BBBH Spongeball early. That is literally just the strat where, like, you break the wall, and, like, the trigger for the warp is very far away from the pad. Which, I guess, must not have happened in Cole's run. I haven't actually checked, but Cole probably just didn't know that back in the day, because obviously, you know, we didn't really... I think we had an... Actually, I don't think Industrial Park existed back then, but I guess we'll see. Yeah, no, so he just, like, manually walks up to it, but as you surely know, you can get it much earlier, so... Again, it's, like, just the severe lack of knowledge, so already we have to rule this one out. I guess we can just, yeah, rule that out. Did dumb jump before he hit the rest of the targets. And skipped Ringer Macho in Rubber-Dub. So, this must have been... So, either this guy found the reroute that Cole found before Cole found it, or his run was after Cole did his run. And I don't know which one. So... Cole came back to the game for, like, literally a week or something in 2016. I think it might have been, like, August, September, October, somewhere around there. And he found in that time that, you can replace Rubber-Dub Ringer Macho for Depression Combat and, SCDA Guitar, and it saves, like... I mean, for the strats back then, it saves, like... I don't even know how much... 45 seconds, maybe more? It's hard to say. Yeah, this must... So either he found it before Cole, or this run was done after Cole. And again, like, the thing is that people were... Like, people were doing this route. So if that guy's run was done after the fact, after Cole found that reroute, then this makes even less sense, because this would literally just be... Like, again, I'm trying to, I've, like, never watched this run. I think I just watched Chris's, because he beat Red Mouse after, like, a day. Okay, no, I think, this run was before. That's really strange. I thought Cole found the reroute before Red Mouse and Chris got world record, unless Red Mouse didn't believe it was fast. Maybe, I don't know, maybe my memory's shaky, but... Yeah, he was just... The guy was just doing a... Which, by the way, that's another, like, 45 to 1 minute advantage that he had over Cole, in addition to the 3 minutes. But yeah, so did driving and Rubber-Dub together. So, I was really confused at first, and then I realized, like, what they meant. So... Back in the day, what people generally did was that they would enter Now That We're Men with not enough tokens, and then just do sandwich driving backtracking then, because back then there were literally no strats. However, it was always faster at the time, with the knowledge at the time, to do it at the end of 3K. Because doing it in Now That We're Men wasted a load, as well as a clam animation. And I think it also gave you Mindy Steer, so, like, that's a lot of time, and some menuing as well, but yeah, all in all, you know, probably, like, 10 seconds lost, even on Xbox. But the thing is that I'm pretty sure Cole's run did sandwich driving early. So I don't know if the person who wrote this just didn't know that it was, like, faster to do it. Like, this person probably didn't watch Cole's run, or, like, hadn't watched it in a long time, because, like, it was literally faster to do it after 3k anyway. So, that, again, that's another, not a time save over Cole, but a time save over the competitors, because Chris and Redmoss were doing sandwich driving as late as possible. I mean, even now, people aren't willing to sacrifice 10 seconds that easily. So people these days, beginners in NMG, even they do sandwich driving, like, early. Although now you would do it, in Weenie. I just realized that, like, because on GameCube, like, we make you reload Weenie after grabbing the final key to do backtrack. I mean, yeah, because you need to do Rub-a-Dub early as well. Yeah, okay, never mind, I was about to say some shit that didn't really mean anything. So, again, this, warped the floating block early. The only thing that I can think of is that this must mean SCDA. Because in Cole's run... again, well, this actually reminds me of something I vividly remember from Cole's run that you'll see in a minute. That you'll see now. So he must be meaning, the person who wrote that must be meaning this pad. You get the warp here, or even, like, a tiny bit beforehand, so you can miss the ledge grab and, you know, slip, and you might have still gotten the warp. You can just grab it from here. It's, like, slightly faster than going to the thing. But again, just like another mistake in Cole's run, he just grabbed the patty for no reason. Again, it's just like, you know. So again, it was just like a little time save over Cole. That doesn't mean anything. Doesn't do guess 2 jumps or jelly boost. So already we can rule this one out because it's incredibly stupid. I don't know if Red Moss's run has... it's not even called Jelly Boost anymore, it's called XD Boost. And even then, it's pretty much completely obsolete. Okay, no, doesn't have it. Yeah, again, it just goes to show how not good at the game we were, by the way. Like, this is literally just SCDA Spongeball, and Redmoss had almost a minute of time save here. Again, it just... Like, we thought the game was hard just because, like, the game is naturally hard for a kid's game, and it was just, like... It was just hard to, like, not die at all or anything, you know? It's 7:28 now that we're men, like... I think my fastest ever now that we're men is, like, it might be sub 420, it's hard to remember. Granted, that was before floating block skip, but yeah. I just remembered something else. I'm gonna write a note about it so that I don't forget. I misspelled it, but that's okay. Nobody will see it other than me. Because it's just a note to myself, but yeah, so I can't really show what this Jelly Boost strat is, other than it's around here. So after SCDA Guitar, so again, this is why I think the run... Well, that would make the notes even dumber, because then surely, what would be the issue with the guy getting a 138 if Redmoss got a 137, which again is making me think that Redmoss might have just not changed his route. I genuinely do not know. But... Again, like, a good chunk of the game's history is lost to time, not only because a potential world record holder was thought to be a cheater, but also, like, the really, really old SpongeBob server is gone, and then there was, like, another server that was deleted, and then, you know, like, it's just, like, a lot of shit that's just, like, gone. So after SCDA Guitar, yeah, you just do this.
No.
And you would, like, stand here, wait for the spinner to charge into you, get damaged off of him, bash boost, and then you jump across here, and then enter the SpongeBob pad. So, first of all, even compared to the old strats, that shit only saves, like, 4 or 5 seconds, if that. And then compared to modern strats, it saves almost nothing. Second, it's hard. Third, it's RNG. Or, like, it's saving time, or even sometimes even getting the trick is RNG. These spinners spawn very shortly into loading the level. As you're doing guitar, they are able to walk around however they want. Their movement is RNG. They can move around in the circle however they want, right? And this is not, like, that good. If I were to do this, like, the angle would probably be okay, but I wouldn't be getting it as fast as possible. It would probably barely save time over doing the Y plus R jump, if anything. So, I only did it in runs very temporarily, but even my world record, my 129, I didn't do the strat. I didn't like it. I think Tedious and Chris were doing it, but I wasn't doing it. Because even without the RNG, it's kind of hard, and with the RNG, it's a fucking nightmare. And again, compared to the Y plus R jump, yeah, if you get, like, literally perfect luck, it saves, like, 2 seconds, but, like, good luck getting that luck, dude. And keep in mind, you're walking from here, so even if they're in a good position here, by the time you walk over there, it might very well be in a bad position. And again, if the angle is abysmal, then you could just get a bad angle and die anyway. It's a full-on dedication for something... I mean, okay, in Chris's 132.10, which to this day is his no major glitches PB. Or it might have been 131.10. Yeah, it was 131.10. He missed... Okay, so not only did he get abysmal RNG, he also missed the trick. And then I think the second time was good, but yeah, like, if he just didn't attempt the trick, he would have gone to 130. Again, it's just like, this trick will just never be in runs again. I mean, especially because the Y plus R jump is very easy, and compared to an average attempt of XD boost, it's not only comparatively very free, but it's also just like going to be faster anyway, compared to like average XD boost luck.
Up, down, left.
So, yeah. Like... Even back in the day, it saved hardly anything. And again, even the time loss from this trick is made up for by just, like, warping to these SpongeBob pads early, so again, it just doesn't mean anything. Now, this has a tiny bit more weight to it, because, again, at the time, it was like, Cole's run is, like, so hard to beat, blah, blah, blah. Like, how could you get world record without doing guess jumps, right? First of all, my 129 it would have very easily been 129. 129 without guess jumps. It would have been a mid 129, which would still be world record by a lot. By about half a minute. Second, again, when Red Moss beat Cole's time by a minute and a half, I don't even know if he did guess jumps, but even if he did, he could have just not done them, and then he would have still beaten it by a minute. He's not even doing guess jumps. Again, this is what I mean. Like... Okay, so guess jumps, if you do them perfectly, they save, like... Well, I say perfectly, but obviously, you know... I'm not talking, like, IL, I mean, like, RTA, getting, like, 2 105s. It saves, like, 30 to 31 seconds. If you do them both, like, perfectly. Because, again, you gotta remember, you know, no major glitches, so you do ring a macho, so you do an extra guess jump. So that is 30 seconds lost, which is a sizable amount of time, I will admit. But, like, this is the only one that isn't, like, the most fucking nonsense thing ever. All of these other ones are just, like, lacking basic knowledge of the game. This one is finally one that has, like, some tiny amount of weight to it. But again, it's like... Even then, it doesn't have a lot of weight. I'll just highlight under it. Instead of scribbling it out for now. But yeah, like... It just doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things. Random upgrade sound in Now That We're Men. The game literally just does that. I don't know if it does it on GameCube. But, like, the game literally just does that. And I don't know how none of the other runners... Like, I don't... What the fuck? I think some weird music is playing right now. I could barely hear it. Like, I have the volume on low. Well, I was gonna see if I could hear it in Cole's run, but I don't know if it'll be loud on. Okay, yeah, I don't know if that was loud. Sorry if it was, but you can literally hear the upgrade sound. So that is just lacking basic knowledge again. Got an extra hit on Dennis 1. I don't really know what this means, other than if, he fucked up the strat where... Okay, hold on. So, let's go to Dennis. Ah, for fuck's sake, I had the volume on. Hopefully that wasn't an issue, like, when I was... God damn, that might have been loud, I don't know. I'm not redoing this video, bro. This is already long. I thought this would be like a 20-minute video. Wait, what was I doing? Dude, I was so- oh yeah, Dennis. I was so distracted, I literally forgot, like... God, I had a 154 gold, I was so bad, Jesus Christ. But anyway, the only thing I can think of when it comes to extra hit is here for the third hit. If you do this too early, Dennis will not get stunned and you have to hit him again. That's a time loss. That is literally a time loss. Granted, maybe the strats were... I don't think the strats were different back then. Twitch VODs are fucking terrible. But we can, like, investigate this, this Denise to figure out the strats. But it should be what I remember. Okay, so he did it early. I'm wondering if by extra hit, it means the stun thing. Like, as in, like, you were able to skip a hit. But even that wouldn't make sense. So I don't think it's that. I think it literally is, like, he fucked up the strat and had to hit Dennis again. Which, if anything, that'd be a time loss. But even if, like... So even if it were a time save, it saves, like, nothing. And if it were a time loss... Well, it's a very small time loss. So again, it's like... how did you get a 138 if you have a 3-minute advantage plus all this other shit, but then you lost, like, 3 seconds there? Like, again, it doesn't make sense. Alright, Watsup Skip, we renamed it the Puzzle Skip, but I can still, like... This run must have had the strat. Hold on. So we can take a look at this. So the strat is very simple. You just do jump, spin, jump, and then you do these wall jumps. That jump spacing was a little bad, I'm surprised he made that, but... Yeah, he missed it once. It's hard for me to say how much it loses. I mean, I've been talking for a while now, trying to figure out, like, how much time it loses, but... Probably, like, 10 seconds. Again, with the 3-minute advantage and everything else, it's like, that's not significant. So we can rule that one out. Missed toilet skip twice. That actually is, like, a fairly big time loss, I would say. Toilet skip, like, saves 6 seconds if you have enough to upgrade throw at the beginning of the level, which back then we absolutely did. Like, back in 2016. But, yeah, I mean, you can see now, Jesus fucking Christ. Losing this actually does lose, like, a lot because you get spawned back to the beginning. So missing that twice, like, okay. That is a big time loss. So, like, 11... And then I'm gonna have to imagine a death. Okay, so I think it's losing about 16 per miss. So that's like 32 seconds lost. Like, that is admittedly a lot, so like... I'm gonna, like, write this shit down, right? Puzzle skip might not even be 10, I don't know. So, like, 32-ish lost from toilet skip, so I'm, like, writing down, like, the notable stuff on, like, the time losses. So, next. Doesn't go for disco skip. With old strats back in the day, that probably is admittedly, like, a 20-second time loss. Let's see if Red Mouse did it, because I actually don't know. Again, I've, like, never watched... I mean, I don't know if I watched this run. I don't remember ever watching this run, so if I did, it would have been, like, when it was brand new. So let's see if he does disco. The thing is, disco skip doesn't save, like, a metric fucked... Okay, he is doing it, but, like, let's see. Okay, he gets a first try as well. So, compared to the disco now... If you don't do disco, you're probably losing about 16 to 17 with, like, the fast ledge grab thing. But back then, you were losing more, like, probably 20. So... Okay, like, 20 seconds in disco. I didn't mean to... I meant to highlight under these, or whatever, it doesn't matter now. Died on Knucklehead McSpazatron. Okay, we will get back to this one, because this could mean a lot of things, or there could be a lot of deaths on this one, so we will get back to this one. We'll also get back to the playing SpongeBob thing, I think. Missed 2 throws on electric fruit in BBBH. I don't know if this means, like, the fruit ran out of time before he could hit the button, so then he had to, like, go, because that does lose a lot. Or if it literally means, like, he just missed, like, throwing the fruit, I don't know, like, I don't know exactly what it means, but if it means what I think it means, that could be pretty significant time loss, but I can't write that down because, again, it's just, like, I don't fucking know exactly what that means. If it literally just means, like, he had to do 2 extra throws, then that doesn't mean anything. So again, I just don't know, like, exactly. Missed a shot on Dennis 2. That can lose a lot, missing a ball shot, but, like, I don't know, dude, like, if you recover it, like, really well, even the worst ones lose, like, 10 seconds, like, if you recover it fast, if that, even. I'm not even joking, if it was recovered well, like, max 10 seconds of time loss. I guess I'll write that down. But, like, again, that's just, like, not significant. Does a bad cycle for Neptune Phase 1 and 2? I don't like, what I'm thinking is that it probably means that he took a long time to get to crabs in Neptune's first-person phase, but each shot loses, like, 2 to 2.5 seconds. Like, I can't remember exactly, it's probably, like, 2 seconds. The thing is, right? I don't... like, that's not that much time. Like, even if he wasted, like, 4 shots, like, per thing in Phase 1 and 2... like, I don't know, that'd be, like, yeah, that is a lot of time loss, like, added up, but I don't know, that's not, like, I don't know, again, I don't know exactly what bad cycle means, but it probably, I wouldn't be surprised if it's literally just, like, probably lost, like, 12 to 16 seconds in Phase 1 and 2 combined. I genuinely, like, even if we assume the worst-case scenario, let's say it's, like, 16 seconds. I mean, I'm not saying, like, literal worst-case scenario, but again, like, I'm talking, like, semi-realistically relative to the standards back then. So let's be, like, harsh and say 16 seconds. Alright, so died in Knucklehead, like, okay, that is a significant time loss depending on where it happened, right? So obviously, there's a lot of places where you could die in Knucklehead. If I... So, obviously, you could fall into the pit. I don't understand how you could possibly fucking do that, and that would be a pretty insignificant time loss. The statue could fall on you. It is rare, but it has happened to me a handful of times over the years. That wouldn't be the biggest time loss in the world. You would lose, like, 25 seconds or something. There's, like, no way you'd die here, surely. You could fall into the pit, but again, it's like... I don't know, pretty unlikely. You could die from that eyeball, but again, I just can't imagine that, like, that would actually happen. Maybe the TNT, but it's pretty out of the way. Maybe the spikes, but health management, like, you would just know. This is the most realistic place to die. You could get hit by that, you could get hit by that, and then people instinctively would run into the TNT because... you know, you could, like, upgrade health or spin for Neptune, but also, like, it just saves frames. I didn't do it in this run because back then we thought that getting hit, like, lost time. Like, I mean, it does in it, but I mean, like, we thought that lower health meant lower speeds. I don't know if they were doing the shortcut back then, so it's possible you could have died on that hot sauce. Could have died on this hot sauce, and it's possible to get soft-locked here, but he didn't say soft-locked, he said died, so... And again, I don't know if they were taking this shortcut, so it could have died here. And if you fuck up the nitro here, you could miss this and die, and that would be a very significant time loss. Again, we just have to speculate. I think realistically, the death was probably like either the statue at the beginning, or it was like roughly around the tunnel. And if it was around the tunnel, that is a significant time loss. You might be thinking, well, why does that matter? But, something that cheaters sometimes do is that they purposely make mistakes to make the incredible time seem, well, less incredible and more believable. So that is, like, the mentality. If it was this late, then unironically, that would actually be credible, because back then, like, all the other mistakes as well, and a death this late in, like, how could somebody play that good? We just couldn't imagine it back then, you know, how could somebody play that good? Again, we thought the Cole's run was so legendary that the only way you could beat it was with all these advantages, you know, primarily playing on Xbox, but also a couple strats and stuff, like, it was essentially believed that, like, you couldn't beat Cole from, like, raw skill, because he made no mistakes, and it just had to be from, like, these extra time saves that he didn't have access to back then. So, yeah, that, I don't know, like, if it's just the statue thing, that's not huge. The statue thing would lose, like, again, that's, like, the most realistic thing in my opinion. So I'm thinking, like, that's, like, 25 to 30 seconds. Let's say, like, 28 or something. Nah, that'd be annoying to add up. Let's just do 30. Let's do worst case scenario again. And finally, had task tier execution on Plank Sponge Ball. I think that just means, like, getting a good cycle. They did know about that. Like, I'm positive they knew about this, fan jump back in the day, but it was seen as risky. It saves, like, 8 seconds, it's, like, 10 seconds, this one. So probably did that, because then you get this, cycle early. And then, like, probably got a fast cycle here. And then, yeah, basically we didn't even used to practice that much back in the day. Again, you would do, like, you know, you'd maybe do some Neptune practice, maybe you'd practice, like, Monster Skip or something, but generally, like, people weren't really practicing that much. Even to this day, dude, I swear, average movie runner will literally just practice, like, rub-a-dub skip, maybe 3 meter, and then they just do runs, and then they're like, why can't I PB? I play this game 2 times a year, and I can't PB, brev, why is that, brev? And then they just add strats instead of just refining their movements and consistency, but this is what I mean, right? I wouldn't be surprised if the guy just, like, actually practiced when none of us were fucking practicing. So, yeah, I don't know, dude, like, that isn't really suspicious. Again, we were so bad back then that dying in SCDA Sponge Bowl was a common thing, let alone Plank, but it's like, that's not task tier execution to just get a decent cycle. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay, so let's like, review this Plank Sponge Bowl. Also, yeah, Red Mouse's gameplay looks fucked because, like, 360 aspect ratio shenanigans. So, like, he does the fan jump. So, you know. And then gets, like, a slower cycle there, but that's not, like, that bad. Like, wouldn't this be considered effectively task tier? Like, that was pretty good. Like, the only thing is that he lost time here, and you can get, like, a super fast cycle. But, like, actually, didn't really lose really anything from that. I mean, lost a tiny bit, but, like, yeah, that platform cycle doesn't lose a lot. But even then, I think he caught the same cycle that I did. Either he caught the same cycle, or it did a full rotation. In which case, that'd be, like, 4.5 seconds of time loss, I believe. So again, it doesn't really mean anything. It's just, like, getting a good Plank Sponge Bowl. Like, yeah, Plank Sponge Bowl was considered, like, the spawn of the devil back then, but again, it just doesn't really mean too much. So, let's add up these time losses, right? So, 30 from guess jumps, 10 from, puzzle skips, that's 40. 2 toilet skip misses, so that's, like, 72. Disco, that's 92. Dennis 2, again, we're assuming, like half worst case scenario, so that's 102. Dennis, Neptune, 118. And then Knucklehead, 148. So that would be, 2:28 of time loss. 2 minutes and 28 seconds of time loss. So, again, we don't even know if it was world record. It could have been a 138.59 for all we know, but even if we assume that it was, like, I don't know, like 138, like, 15 or something, like, okay, so Xbox saves, like, 3 minutes, and he, like, made less than 3 minutes of, like, notable mistakes. So you can kind of do the math on that. And again, BBBH time save, SCDA time save, you know, like, just not fucking things up as much as, like, other runners. You see what I mean? Like, this doesn't add up. None of this adds up. Again, like, some of these I'm being, like, harsh on with the time losses, and some of them I'm being more generous on. If he did lose, like, 2 minutes at Knucklehead, like, that would be a situation where it's, like, again, at the time, like, oh, how could somebody play that good? But yeah, this is why I don't think he cheated. A lot of the reasons didn't make sense, and looking back at it, we all just fucking sucked, and even if you, like, factor these time losses, even without the time saves, it still makes sense how he was able to get Reki. I think it's just because he was, like, some like, teenager who came out of literally nowhere and didn't have, like, a legacy beforehand. So it's like, oh, how could you beat the legendary Cole, bro? Yeah, I mean, that's mostly the story. I will say as well, like, we disregarded, like, that guy's accomplishments in general, like, he found, Skydive, and, well, it was a slow version of it, but yeah, we dismissed it incredibly quickly, not even trying to think of how to make it fast. And he did, the fast infinite dive strat in 3K that saves, like, a second and a half. We didn't even, like, watch the run, so we couldn't even, we didn't even look at it, bro. So that went under the radar until, like, I think, like, either 2020 or 2021, which is kind of embarrassing, considering, like, somebody already found it in, like, 2016. There was also, like, this weird, like, little, like, probably 360 glitch he found where he got, like, really fast speeds in Plank Area 2. Like, he was just walking, like, really fucking fast. To this day, we haven't seen it since. And yeah, I don't remember if we thought that that was, like, some cheating shit, but we probably did think it was some cheating shit, even though it was almost certainly just some 1 in a million 360 glitch. What would be even the point of faking that in Plank 2, when you gotta do, like, those wall jumps? Like, wouldn't you want to do it somewhere else where you can get, like, fast speeds? It was, like, really fast speeds. I'm talking, like, SpongeBob would just walk really fast. Like, it might have even been faster than cruise boost speeds, it's hard to remember, but it probably isn't, like, something that you can replicate. Also, I think he might have found floating block skip. I feel like I remember him finding floating block skip, and people being like, oh, I tried it, like, one time, and it didn't work, therefore, he cheated, it doesn't work, brev. I swear to God, I remember, like, him doing it, and then people being like, no, it's not real, it didn't happen, it's fake, it didn't happen, like, it's not real, because I tried it once, it didn't work. Or maybe he, like, said that he got it, and then people were like, oh no, because we tried cartwheeling off the spike and it doesn't, like, I swear to God, I remember him, like, effectively finding it and people just dismissing it. And I do have a little bit of evidence, like, one of Chris's runs, I think Chris's first world record with, floating block skip, which at the time saved like a minute, now it's like 30 seconds or 35. I think, yeah, Chris's description said decent splice leap, because I think we were making jokes about it being like a splice jump because he found it. And again, like, I have, like, old memes on my, because I have, like, a meme command, and then I have, like, a meme archive command, and there's, like, some old, like, splicing jokes in the, just in like, again, that's just, like, another thing of, like, how I was, like, absolutely part of the problem. But yeah, like, that's the thing, like, that's why making a world record history on this game is kind of weird, because I'm pretty sure he got world record at some point, but, like, there's no proof of the run ever happening because it got deleted, and, like, so do I just, like, not mention it in a world record history video? Like, I literally don't know. Because I don't remember what times he got, how long, like, what time, or, like, what date he even got those times. How many times he got the record, if it was only once or if it was more times, like, I genuinely do not know. But yeah. So now I just want to go over, like, how it's hard to even cheat in this game in the first place. So, it might seem easy, right? Because, like, you have, like, this loading screen. Oh, well, it'd be incredibly easy to cheat then. You just splice on these. It's not that simple. It really isn't. I mean, obviously, at the beginning of the run, like, yeah, you could do a splice-a-rooney. I don't know why you'd splice from no cheese to depression, but, like, you can. Though you need to be a little tiny bit careful of the manlies. You might have, like, one more or less than normal, but generally, like, yeah, pretty easy to cheat there. Creek, everybody fucks up Creek, so this would be an ideal place to splice. Like, yeah, you absolutely could splice here. But again, like, as you go further into the run, it becomes harder and harder to obtain the same manly count, right? Because again, it's like, okay, 371. Again, that's not too hard to achieve right now. When you get to, like, BBBH, the RNG can slightly influence the combo from the manlies that you get from these enemies. Like, I got a 10 bonus there, you might not get that. And again, there was, like, other stuff, like, you know, Rub-a-Dub and everything, like... This is when it gets progressively harder and harder and harder to cheat. And especially when you get to Now That We're Men onwards, it just becomes ridiculous. If you enter Now That We're Men from not Rock Slide, you will get Mindy Stare. You also just get it naturally on GameCube and PS2 anyway, but on Xbox, you need to do it from Rock Slide. So you need to get the exact same amount of manlies. So to cheat in Now That We're Men, which is a segment you absolutely would want to cheat in, is one of the hardest segments in the run, if not the hardest. So you would want to cheat here, right? But how do you do that? Well, like, how do you conveniently do that when you have to do Rock Slide first, and you need to make sure that your manly count in Rock Slide is accurate every single time, when there's hardly any ones or twos? A lot of manlies come from, like, enemies in TNT, which could then also, combos could be factored into it. It'd be very hard to, like, cheat here. So, SCDA is, like, kind of the same. I've gotten Mindy Stare in SCDA, some, like, not in runs. Well, if you do Rock Slide too early, then you get... But yeah, I think... I was trying to do... I set up files for late game RTA before, and every time I tried it, I got fucking Mindy Stare in SCDA. So I think, like, that is all... So again, I don't even know if you'd be able to cheat in Now That We're Men. Or, I mean, the beginning of SCDA. And again, SCDA is also one of the hardest segments in the run you would want to cheat. Floating Block would admittedly be pretty easy to cheat in. Sunday, maybe, but a Guess would be a bit of a hard one as well. Guess 2 wouldn't be that bad to cheat in. Plank would be a bit hard because of how many loads there are. Like, you'd probably want to do some cheating at the beginning, but again, like, manlies. Because, like, you know, the Papa can shoot the Z crates, but then you can also get some manlies. Again, it just becomes, like, progressively harder to cheat. It's hard to get it across, but it's mainly Now That We're Men and SCDA. And you could say, like... Oh, well, they could do save states. Well, yeah, they could. But, like, as far as we know, no one's ever done that. And also, then you can't cheat in, like, 3 categories because they require Mindy Skip and you can't do Mindy Skip. And then it's like, okay, well... Like, I don't... Like, I don't know, like... You could say autosave, but, like, nobody uses autosave because it's annoying, and even then, you would need to keep your splicing in check, because if you 2-frame tokens, you get save game glitch. So you would need to, even then, while it would be quite a bit easier, and you could still get Mindy Stare, so it would just, again, be difficult to cheat. It would take so much effort to cheat that it's not worth it. Right? Because if you're a decent player at this game, and then you cheat to get, like, a top time, like, the record is already optimal. Like, I'm not trying to, like, stroke my ego, it's just that, like, the record is at a point where, like, you'd have to do a lot of stuff you don't normally do that would be hard for even an intermediate player to do. And even then, their movement's gonna let them down. Like, yeah, they could effectively play like a sum of best, but, like, we'll put it like this, right? second place in... Okay, so Sam is in second place. Not even from his PB, like, recently. Like, he's been golding... He's come back to to no pole storage, he's been golding recently. His sum of best is, like, 40 seconds off the record. He's a very good player, but, like, what I mean is that even if you had, like, a 106 in no pole storage, I think it would take such a long time to perfect things in a way to even, like, for your skill level to get record, that, like, it wouldn't even be worth the effort. You just want to, like, practice and get better. And if you're bad at the game, you're bound to have an easily detectable splice on accident, and, it wouldn't even, like, you'd have to be a decent player, and decent players I feel like are less likely to cheat because they actually respect the game. And again, they would just be better off, like, learning strats and improving their times, you know, consistency and movement and everything. So it just, like, I know, you know, that point is basically just, like, cheating isn't logical, even though people just cheat. But, like, the cheat getting record in no pole storage, I think you probably need, like, at least, like, a 105, probably lower. And by that point, you're unlikely to, and even then, nobody uses it. Like, if you have a good run and you're using autosave, like, that just doesn't make sense, because if your run is good enough to the point where if the game crashes, like, realistically your run's over, why would you have autosave on in the first place? That just makes you incredibly suspicious. Just having autosave on makes you suspicious by default, unless it's, like, one of your first runs. Yeah, I don't know, like... Oh yeah, Zemu, if you try to save a state in Zemu, half the time the game fucking crashes. Not that we even allow Zemu anyway, but yeah. And PCSX2, well, I think save states are fine in PCSX2, I meant like we don't allow PCSX2. We actually are more loose on our rules than we used to be. We only require audio for top 10, because again, it's so hard to cheat, and we have had a history of runners having some issues with the capture cards, or whatever, so... It just doesn't, like... At that point, we can just loosen up. The only categories it's easy to cheat in are literally just, like, maybe frogfish, cheap percent, and, like, some platforming ILs. And again, as far as we're aware, no one's ever cheated. Unless we're counting that one guy who said that he got pixel-perfect wrong warps in Depression and got wrong warp to Neptune. And then used Cole's run as video proof, and then was like, well, the rules didn't say that you couldn't do that. Lol. Unless we're counting that, I mean, is that even cheating at that point? That's literally just, like, complete buffoonery. But... yeah, I don't know, like... yeah, again, as far as we're aware, no cheating has ever occurred. If, like, a high-level player ever did cheat, like, yeah, we would, like... probably have, you know, enforce stricter rules, but again, it's, like, it's hard to cheat, like... maybe on the leaderboards there are fake times that are above the cutoff and they don't have video proof. Like, that is entirely possible, but again, what can you do about that other than requiring full-on video proof for every submission? And at that point, you know, considering the game is niche, we're just, like, discouraging people from getting into the game. When it comes to, like, niche games, like, you need to be a little lax on the rules just so, you know, you have, like, a good number of people, like, playing the game. Like, imagine somebody doesn't run the game because the rules are, like, too strict, and that's just inevitable when it comes to, like, the eventual video cutoff, but, like, again, I feel like we're pretty reasonable with the rules. Oh, I think you need video and audio proof for all time submissions, though, like, all sliding and driving ILs, but that actually, like, makes, you know, sense, so, yeah. The only other thing to note is that, again, people were so desperate to catch this guy cheating. So, we thought, one of the reasons why we thought he was cheating was because, like, again, we thought he cheated in a different game. Because, like, when you beat a level, it gives you, like, this bizarre amount of currency. And the game just does that, apparently. It just, like, it might be some kind of score bonus. I don't think there's a score in that game. I don't know. I think it's, like, some weird fucking bonus of some kind. Or something. I remember people explaining that one, like, no, like, the game literally just, like, does that. Like, when you're done with a section or whatever, like, it just gives you, like, a weird number of, like, the collectible, or the, well, it is a collectible as a currency, but yeah. I don't know the game that well, so I can't actually, like, look into that, really. I mean, I could look into it, but, like, not easily. But that doesn't really seem to, like, mean much at the end of the day. The other thing as well, people thought he was cheating in a Frogfish RTA run, because when you don't have enough tokens for BBBH, like, the cutscene doesn't play. And they were like, oh, look, in his run, the cutscene didn't play, and it's literally like, yeah, because he didn't have enough fucking tokens, bro, so the cutscene didn't play. It only plays if you have enough tokens. And which in Frogfish, as long as your run isn't the most bozo thing ever. Basically, as long as you're doing slide jumps, like, you're not gonna have enough entering BBBH for Slam. So it's literally just like, again, it just doesn't make sense. So, yeah, it's basically it, like, came out of nowhere, got a time that seemed just, like, ridiculous at the time, like, out of nowhere, seemingly. We thought he was a cheater, he reacted to it, like, poorly, and then we just made fun of him for a long time. I don't even know when I stopped believing he cheated, or at least, like, when I finally, like, gave up on the idea that there's no shadow of a doubt he cheated. I just remembered something else. There was this other game where he was allowed to submit, like, a co-op run of a game, and, I was skeptical of it at the time, because I was like, dude, he's a known cheater, we can't have him, like, you know, in this other game. And somebody messaged me, like, a while after, like, one of the other mods, and they were like, bro, we have proof that his run was, like, cheated in that game. And I didn't really ask about it, but I was like, yep, typical that guy, of course he would, you know. And then, I think, like, a year or two later, I asked him again, because this was years ago. I don't even remember, like, exactly when it was, but it was probably, like, pre-2020. I asked him, like, oh, like, do you have the proof that he cheated? And then the guy was like, oh, no, I don't think he cheated. I think we just, like, misunderstood something. So, yeah, again, he could be watching this video right now and just laughing at me for how stupid I am for not believing he cheated when he secretly did all along, and he still won't admit to it to this day. But, like, here's the thing, right? There's literally no proof that he cheated. I mean, I would love to look back at those runs, but they don't exist anymore. And, like, okay, so the biggest proof that he cheated is, number one, if he really did lose that much time in Knucklehead, then that would be suspicious for the standards at the time. But again, it probably, realistically, was the statue thing. Number two, the runs are gone, but again, nobody believed them anyways, and he's not gonna get credit for, like, his accomplishments in the game, so, like, what's the point? Probably just got annoyed. So, like, those two are, like, pretty reasonable. Well, not the first, like, but the second one is, like, a reasonable, like, reason to, like, delete the runs. I forgot the other things I was gonna say. Oh yeah. Third, if he did cheat, then, like, I feel like he would have admitted it by now. He probably just would have admitted it back in, like, 2018, 2019, just be like, alright, yeah, I cheated, whatever, bro. Like, the only reason why he wouldn't would be either A, like, he still would have this, like, ego about it all these years later, or he would be worried about his times in other games getting rejected, even because he cheated in a different game, and people wouldn't want to take that chance. But I think realistically, by now, he would have just admitted to it. Yeah, I mean, it's entirely possible that he wouldn't, but it's just more realistic than not that he just would admit to it. So, yeah, that's pretty much the history of the alleged splicer who didn't actually splice. And why it's hard to cheat in this game in the first place. That's pretty much it. So, thank you for watching, and goodbye.